can spend years doing everything right, taking care of people, showing up, being responsible, holding everything together, and still wake up one day wondering, when have I stopped feeling like myself? Not because something dramatic happened, but because somewhere along the way you stopped checking in with yourself. And many women don't realize it's happening until midlife, until the exhaustion feels heavier, the resentment gets harder to ignore, and the life you built no longer feels like yours. If you ever looked around and thought, how did I get here? This episode is for you. If you've been telling yourself it's fine, but deep down you know something needs to change, you're in the right place. Welcome to the Pursue Your Spark podcast, and I'm your host, Heike Yates. This is a show for the in-between seasons of midlife, where we uncover the habits and comfort zones keeping you stuck and move you towards strength and action without forcing a reinvention. I am super excited to invite and have my friend Denise Drinkwalter on the show today. Denise, so glad you came on the show. I was on your show not too long ago and we connected, and here you are for my audience.
What a pleasure to be in this space again with you. I can't wait to have our conversation today, Heike. Yay!
Yay, I know, right? Many women hit midlife and suddenly feel disconnected from themselves, even though life looks like fine on the outside. What really happens underneath that?
What I experience and what I find women experience is a disconnection. A disconnection that is wide and deep, and there's like a big hole, and they're trying to figure out how to get out of the hole. And so, because we as women are multitaskers and extremely good at it, it's a natural propensity. It's also societal influx on that. However, we're so busy in life doing and making sure everybody else is okay. When those things start to split off and go and do their own thing, example, children grow, they've had, thank you, mom, for everything you've given. I'm going out into the wilderness and I'm going to do my thing now. A lot of us as moms are like, that's great. That's what we wanted. But now what do I do? Because I filled so much of my time making sure the family was good, right? Body changes, physiological changes that can play with our head, all kinds of things. And then we're kind of look in the mirror and go, well, I think I know, but there's a hole. There's like a big gaping hole, and I'm feeling I need to fill it. So then a lot of women try to go out and find it from outside. What's my purpose? How am I going to fill this hole? What am I going to do with this gap? Because I don't like it. So I'm going to stay busy. I'm going to run around and do other things just to keep avoiding being still with myself and tapping into who I am as a person.
And this is so difficult.
It is.
This is so difficult. We avoid it under all circumstances. Mm-hmm. And we'd rather, like you said, fill the hole from the outside than instead of really looking inside and seeing what really is going on. And don't you think it's also hard to recognize that moment, to actually see what I call in my book, Pursue Your Spark, the gap that leads to the traps, and recognizing that you are at that point.
Yeah. And that it's okay.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. Was there a moment in your own life or work when you realized women weren't just exhausted, but they had actually lost connection with themselves?
You know, it's such a great question, because I used to see this in my office when I was in education for 31 years. And in my last 10, 12 years, I was administrator. I was the principal in the building. And the number of times that I had Kleenex boxes for my moms, because they were carrying the weight of everything that their children did, they felt was a direct reflection, no matter what they did, of who they were. So if their kids messed up, which, hello, we all do, but they took it to heart, and it became such a big ball for them to carry that I think they were starting to be disconnected then. And that was, when we are in our late 30s, right? It's starting to happen long before we even realize it. And then we start to identify ourselves through the failures, which we see as failures, and they're not failures, they're life lessons. And this is the type of thing that we work on. But we see them and we put them in that bag and put that bag on our back, and then we carry it and carry it and carry it. So it's so hard to see sometimes what they call the forest for the trees, right? You're carrying it and you don't even realize what you're carrying, like you said earlier. Yeah, it's incredible. And I would say way back then. Now, in the midst of it, I didn't clue in that that's what that was. But of course, as I get time and space, I get more opportunity to pause and reflect. And I wish I had have done that a bit more in my earlier days. I didn't. Do I beat myself up for that? No. Do I go, you know what? Hey, what do I get to do now with that opportunity to pause, reflect, and go, how is this serving me? That's the big question that I like to give back to women. How does this serve me? How does this thought, how does this emotion, how does this opportunity that's presenting itself, how does it serve me? And that's a really tough question for women to dig into because, well, I'm supposed to make sure everybody else is served. I can't serve myself, right? Yeah.
Is that what brought you to the work you do right now?
Great question. So what happened was I'm going to say I fell into it, but I know the universe had much more to do with it than what I believe about myself. So what happened was when I retired, I had full plans of looking after our grandchildren, which we are still doing. Our final little one is going to school in the fall. So we're finished with it'll be 8 years of caregiving for our grandchildren. What a gift. What a gift. And so what I did was I took a 2-week break from retirement from the education field, took a 2-week break and started with our grandson who was a year old. And I started getting people reaching out, my colleagues, can you help me? I was doing some network marketing opportunity with Arbonne. It was a company that I used to work for where I would sell products. So people would come to me and say, I'm struggling with my weight. I'm like, okay, well, I have this product, and I'd share the product. And as I worked with people, it was much deeper than weight. It wasn't about the weight. It was about how we felt about ourselves, what we saw ourselves as, how we thought people viewed us, and how we viewed ourselves was a very different, linear pattern. It wasn't the same. And I just started moving into supporting people. And so what I'm finding is something I've always had in me is to be able to connect with other people, see what they see as their errors, what they see as their faults. I see so much strength within individuals that they can't see in themselves. And when we have conversation, what happens is they look and go, I never thought of it that way. I don't know how many times I've heard that. I've never thought of that way. Right. So
yeah, that's the outside person looking in.
Yeah, exactly.
But also I feel that you bring a lot of compassion to the work that you do and understanding of when we're falling in the gaps, as I like to call them as well, or the in-between season in our midlife. And I always keep referring to it, that midlife to me is from 40 till 80 and not just being 50 years old. There's a lot of longevity now for us women. And as we're moving forward, there's so much more capacity that we bring to the work. But why do so many women build their identity around being needed?
Because they haven't spent the time understanding how they need themselves first. So they do it from the outside in instead of from the inside out. So they look for validation. They look for love. They look for approval outside of themselves because we were never taught, and we still are not taught, to love ourselves first, because that's egocentric. It's like, no, we know so much better now. If we love ourselves, not egotistically, not narcissistically, but truly love who we are as a person, the ripple effect that happens and compounds can't even be explained. And so that's what I believe has happened. It's the need because they're not doing it from within. And let's change that script and that narrative, right?
Yeah, I can, with that question, I had the specific question for you. And I also had somebody in mind that thrives on being needed, which is my mom.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She thrives on being needed in all kinds, and she is looking for the outside validation of how amazing she is. She is an amazing woman, but that's her primary driven way to feel good about herself, to have some self-worth, and to say, look at me, what can I do? And when as her daughter, probably not the best thing. I'm not a therapist. I'm just her daughter, but I'm digging deeper. And I bought her a book and I said, Mom, here's a book where you can write about your life, about the things that keep you up at night or the thoughts you have. And really starting to maybe hone in a little bit, getting away from that outside validation and moving into what really she needs in order to thrive. And she's she's 82. And I said, she's never touched the book. She put it aside, barely glancing at it. And I said, maybe she's not ready for it. Maybe she needs a little bit more time. But she is stuck in that pattern. And people keep saying, oh, you don't teach an old dog new tricks, which I don't think is true. But there has to be the willingness to look beyond that outside validation. And when I teach the Pursue Your Spark Blueprint, which initially started to revolve around fitness and nutrition, has become much more of what we're talking about today, about women moving forward in midlife.
Yeah.
And I think it's so important that we have these conversations between you and I and all of the women around us to break out of that gap and out of the trap and moving forward in life.
Yeah. I love what you're saying. And there's something that I used to say, and I would talk to my teachers like this. I would talk to colleagues like this and say, you can't make anyone do anything, no matter what. We learned that in kindy land when I taught kindergarten. And they would basically tell you, nope, can I go now? I'm done. You can't make them sit there and work on their letters. Like, you cannot make anybody do anything. What we get to do is model, have conversations, give the books as you can give the books. And what they're going to choose to do with it is theirs to own, right? Yeah.
What does losing yourself slowly look like in everyday life before women even realize it's happening?
That's just it. They don't realize it's happening until there is a turn of events. It could be health. It could be family dynamic. It could be anything. And that's when the rubber hits the road and everything seems to come tumbling down. But when we take that rear view mirror and start looking back, we can see the pieces of the puzzle. We can put them together really readily about where we started losing ourselves. There's a question that I love to ask women, and that is this. When was the last time you truly, truly remember being you? Not you, the mom, not you, the sister, not you, the girlfriend, not you, the auntie, not you, the grandma, you. And it is so interesting if you take even 10 minutes and jot down, when was the last time I remember being me? And what did that feel like? And really tap into when you had joy in your life. What were you doing? What were you experiencing? what was happening in those moments and a new lens. Yeah.
What about you?
Oh,
what was that moment when you felt like that you remember?
It's coming back. I haven't lost it. I'm sparking her back up again. Me being me, there are 2 or 3 different times. When I was young, 8, 9, I run everywhere, climb trees like a monkey. I love to be active. I had to be engaged with my body physically. I had to keep moving. That's me. It still is me. When I'm not moving, I'm grumpy. Everybody knows it. And now you understand it better now too. Right. So if I'm not doing something for me, by me, because of me, I know it because my energy shifts. That's one thing I know about myself. I would say in high school, when I didn't have the pressure like I did in university for the grades required to keep where I was in that curriculum, high school was when I was fully me. And I'm, like I say, I'm coming back to her. I'm bringing her back out a lot. Just dancing and I'm having fun and I'll laugh. I was talking to somebody not that long ago and I was on his podcast, Brad Walsh, wonderful man. And he said to me, I just love your laugh. Can you just please send me a recording of you laughing? Because I just need it right now.
Oh my goodness. So you hear it here, guys. She's laughing.
So I smiled at that and went, there was a time when people said I was too loud. Right. And so I calmed my laughter down. I didn't laugh or whatever. I remember those moments. Right. So forget it. I'm not doing that anymore.
There you go. You have the laugh for you guys. It's like Denise is just laughing just for you right now. So keep listening to this episode. At some point, does the body start to reflect what women have ignored emotionally for years?
It does, particularly if they pause and pay attention. So what I find is when women don't slow down, they keep busy, they hide it. Oh, my knee hurts, but I can do this. I've got this, and off they go, right? And so then it can become a bigger problem, or it can move to another area. Headache. I used to get migraines like crazy. I don't anymore. Surprise, surprise. Because I know what to do. I know how to handle stress differently than I have before. So yeah, when we slow down and we tune in, that's when we can actually, there's a message here for me. What is it? Get curious with it. Don't get afraid of it. And the other thing I find, don't go start Googling or AIing your symptoms because you will go into a dark hole. That's just my interpretation anyway.
It just leads down. And especially when you don't know what to do with the information, you get afraid. Yeah. You're like, oh my God, I now have cancer or I now have whatever. And you just have a bum knee. If you don't know how to interpret, it's okay. I think it's okay to Google and check things out if you have something, but then please go to a professional and get a really professional opinion and an x-ray or whatever body parts we're talking about, instead of dabbling around or asking your best friend and the person that you exercise with or the person that's in your community. You're like, whoa, what did you do? Do you have this too? Because everybody has something.
Of course. Exactly. Yeah. And the other thing that I think is really valuable is how are you feeling? Right? How are you really feeling? And just sit with that and really take time and space to understand what's coming from your head and what's really coming from your body. Because they're two different pieces there, right?
Yeah. You already touched on fear a little bit, but what are women afraid might happen if they stop being the dependable one?
2 things. They are going to have to do a lot of work to figure out who they really are. And I struggle with the idea of it's a lot of work because I don't see it that way. I think it's a lot of love. And it's just redirecting that love from outward to inward. And what a gift to give yourself. And you are more deserving than anyone else in this world to receive that kind of love that's deep inside your bones that you've been missing for years. So that to me is a pivotal piece. It's so important that we understand that this is a journey. You are not alone in this. That's why we're here, right? We know we're experiencing
It's like,
it.
hello, we're shouting it from the roof. Hello, we're here for you. Have a conversation. Reach out to us. Talk to us. You know, that's what we're doing for a living. That's what we love doing. We're passionate about. And this is our purpose. And we want you to be feeling just as fulfilled as we're working on also to be, because we're not fulfilled every day.
Yeah. We don't have the rose-colored glasses on. It's not the reality. But boy, we are living life. I know I'm living life differently, and I'm choosing to do it more and more all the time because I don't know when my last breath is going to be. I have no idea. And I don't want to waste my time always giving to everybody else with nothing left for me. That doesn't serve them either, right? We think it does.
It's like, think about in an airplane, they always say, put the air mask on yourself first and then everybody else.
I know.
And that's really the way to think about all of this that we're experiencing in midlife. But I want to tie in a little bit or talk a little bit about why do these patterns that we have developed often become harder or to sustain or ignore in midlife?
I think it's because there are so many changes. And with all the changes that occur, you can't still keep doing what you're doing because it's just not going to work anymore. And you're just going to hit frustration, right? So you can make excuses, but eventually it's going to catch up. So I think that's what happens is it just becomes your new reality that things are changing. And that's a good thing. We don't want to stay 30 forever, even though I still wonder how my children are 36 and 30, like 35 and 30 or 33 and 30. I don't know how that happened because I don't think I feel 62, but I am, right? So what a gift. Why not? Why not? So that's what I think. That's my interpretation. What do you think?
I like the idea of that. We're not stagnant. And the longing for what was in the past is not healthy. Yeah. Because it deludes us with what we're going forward with, which brings me back to what you said earlier, the joy. Where are we ourselves? Yeah. I was not myself in my 30s. I definitely wasn't myself in my 40s. I am 65 and I am now in my new myself right now, in my new myself. I have a story from when I was little where I was like, this is my story. I always go back to when I was like you, funny enough, 8 or 9 years old. And we were living in the country. And I remember so vividly that I was like you, always outdoors, always running around with the farmers. And I would like help them find potatoes and herd the cows and whatever you do when you have a farm. And one day I was running after the farmer that I really liked, and they had hay on their back, and I keep running after them, and it was the best thing ever. And I didn't see that big wall that was there, and I ran full smack into that big wall, and I rebounded, and I still have a scar to prove it.
Oh, wow.
But that moment, it was not about the pain that I crashed into the wall and I didn't see the wall, but that joy I had. That freedom. And freedom is my thing. And I know we talked about this on your show as well when you graciously interviewed me. But the freedom to me is what I want women to long for and look for as we get older? What is the freedom that you have in your choices? What can you do differently? And that's maybe more aligned with, in our cases, the 8-year-old that had that feeling, that this unbelievable like freedom and possibility in life.
Yeah. 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 Just go do it. Like that's what's coming up for me. Just go do it. And don't think twice about it. Of course, that's the first thing you get to do. When there's that spark, get the oxygen going to it. It might not end up being where you think it's going to go, but if you have that little spark within, get the oxygen going, get that flame started, because you never know what can happen as a result of it. And it doesn't matter what the spark is. Yeah.
How does a woman know the difference between being strong and simply surviving?
So to me, anyway, surviving is just getting by. So you can tick it off the list, did that. But being strong, you know what you need to do to keep going. You have the capacity to understand what needs to go into the quote on back end in order to keep that strength alive. Survival is just I'm just getting through. It's a totally different energy. It has the same power, but it's a short punch, where strength is a longevity. There's a design to it. There's a lot of thought around it, in my opinion. There's a lot of pieces that go into it. Survival is literally like the car is going off the cliff and I want to make sure that I get out alive. So I jump out the car before it goes over the cliff. Strength would be I'm turning the wheel and I'm pulling it back onto the road. And yes, I might crash, but I'm not going to go over the cliff and just, oh, well, what's going to happen is going to happen. I know it sounds pretty morbid, but just came to me as I was thinking about it, right?
That's a good, vivid example. I mean, people can picture that. And I think when we picture these things, as dramatic as they may sound, the more we can feel what that could be like in our lives. Because so many women pride themselves of, I'm strong, I'm powering through, I can do this no matter what. But internally, they fall apart completely.
Yeah. And where is that coming from? Is it coming from I'll prove? I'm doing it through the lens of proof. I can do this. I'm strong. Watch me. I'll get it done. And then they get the accolades, but it has nothing to do with their inner strength. They didn't build up to create the plan to make sure everything happened. And if something does need tweaking, then they are able to do it. So if you're doing it again for you, by you, because of you, it has much stronger roots than I'll do it and I'm going to show you. That's outward. We're talking inward. Yeah.
For the woman listening who realizes she spent years disconnected from herself, what is the first step toward rebuilding that relationship again?
First of all, you've already started because you already have the awareness that you get to do something for you, by you, because of you. So you're already pushed start. You already know. A lot of us don't have the awareness. So you can't even do anything if you don't even know there's something you get to do, right? Just go along and da-da-da-da. So the awareness piece is a huge starting point. The next piece is I would strongly recommend sit and think about where you feel most fulfilled. What happens when you are feeling fulfilled? Make a list. If it's, I do this and I do this and I do this, whatever it is, write your list of things and highlight those things that you've written down that are actually for you, by you, because of you, not for anybody else but you. And if you see 1 out of 10 highlighted, you know that you are in the right lane. You know that you are supposed to be and get to be starting to come back to what fulfills you by understanding You before you had all your roles. Start to tie back into what we talked about earlier. Who were you? What did you love to do as a child when you had the freedom to do such? What ties into what you could do now where that could cross over for you? And sky's the limit. This is your private journal. You just get to play. It's your playground now, right? That's what I would strongly recommend.
Before I go, I just want to thank you for being here with me this season on Pursue Your Spark. And honestly, if you've missed a few episodes along the way, welcome to real life. We're taking a little break during August. Time to slow down a bit, enjoy summer, reset, and maybe stop trying to fix everything all the time. So while we're away, go back and listen to some episodes you might have missed, especially the ones where you saw the title and thought, yep, that one's probably for me. And if the show has supported you or made you feel less alone in this season of life, I'd really appreciate if you left a review. It helps more women find the show. We'll be back in September with a brand new episode titled Why Midlife Progress Doesn't Happen in a Straight Line. Because real life, it's messy, progress zigzags, and you're probably doing better than you think. Until then, keep pursuing your spark.